1, Delta 1 here. I'm just now leaving work, still here. Pulling out now. And it rained, so I'm like spinning out everywhere. Basically, I was asked last night, what have I done to the truck so far? I'm gonna put that up there. Have I completed what I needed to do on the truck, and have I serviced it? Basically, have I serviced the truck at all since my last post? I think it was someone that looked at my video from when I got the truck to stop smoking, if I'm not mistaken. Stop running. And here's the thing. The part I need for my truck is the occupant restraint controller. I also have to get a passenger side seat belt because I blew that by accident. But this is what happened with that. I ordered my part by the part number, my occupant restraint module by the part number. That part number that I have is the one that's due for a recall. So that one arrived, well, it's supposed to arrive today. Hopefully. Well, I guess I say hopefully, but it's not really a hope. It's supposed to arrive today. And even if it does arrive today, I have to send that same part back to Copart to have it swapped out with the one that does not have the recall. So either way, I'm SOL because I still have to wait. The seatbelt I can get, but I want to wait until I get the occupant restraint module, until I get all of that, because the seatbelt with retractor is a lot more expensive. I'll have to get it used, unfortunately, because it's like $300 or something to get one used. So I don't know. Well, what's going to end up happening, wish everybody would get on their side. What ends up happening is that once that module comes back, I can put the seats back in. The rear seat, which technically wasn't really removed, it was only slid forward. I've mounted that back because the RFH module is in there. It's programmed. It works. It does everything it's supposed to. I don't need to worry about moving the rear seat anymore. I need the occupant restraint controller to put the front seats in. I do have my first casualty of living with a flooded Ram. I'm assuming that either A, I installed the blower motor wrong, well, not blower motor, but the blend door wrong, or not. I no longer have air blowing out of the vents. I have air blowing seamlessly out of the foot, defrost, the recirc door works, but I've now lost control of being able to blow air through the main vents. So I'm going to assume that the upper blend door is broken, or the upper blend door gear is, I don't know, something's not right. But on the note of, have I done any more to the truck? No, I haven't, because again, to go any further, I got two issues that I'm currently in right now. One, the occupant restraint module, which I have to send back when it gets here. And two, the, what do you call it? On the steering wheel, the cruise control buttons work, but not the EVIC buttons. They don't work. And the instrument cluster does not work. Well, it works, but it doesn't communicate with the EVIC. The EVIC on the instrument cluster does not work with the steering wheel controls. And the other thing is my horn doesn't work. I'd have to pull the steering wheel cowl back off to get a meter on my horn to find out if, when I'm pushing the horn, is it completing a circuit? And if it is, then the problem won't be a horn. Crossing the fingers is not the steering wheel control module. That's the issue. Because the steering wheel control module communicates, and it has no errors in it. Except it had a line 2 was slave module error, but I swapped it with the one that came on the truck originally, and that error went away. So I'm not sure about that yet. It may just need a reconfiguring. I don't know. But what we're at now is I still have to get the truck serviced. I still have the water, because of the time of the year right now, it's hot. I'm not worried about it freezing anything, but especially here in Mississippi. But oh my God, someone was hit pretty hard. Someone slid their trailer into the side of their Trailblazer. But essentially what I do when I go home is I go home and I start the truck. And the reason I do that is, one, I want the oil that's in it that's good to roll around in there. I want the truck to build its temperature up. I want it to boil off any water that it can. I let it get the operating temperature and I let it sit there. Let it run long enough for the transmission to get at least close to, at least get to servicing temperature, which you won't really know until you put the scan tool up to it. So I do that every day until I actually decide to say, okay, that's enough. It's cycled through the engine enough. I've ran the engine long enough, and I'll swap it out for this. I'm on the fence though. I'm not sure what I should do about the coolant. I've got two options. I can go the cheap route and just go to AutoZone, and I could just buy the green coolant, your standard green coolant, and put in there. Or I can go to Mopar and spend $25 a gallon, which I'll need 2.5 gallons. But actually, since I have water in there, and since it's really hard to fully evacuate the entire system, it probably will only take 2. But I'd have to completely redo the entire cooling system. But I'm trying to decide whether to spend the extra money and just put the organic red or orange, whatever color you want to call it, Mopar coolant into the truck, or just put the green coolant in. I'm also on the fence about something else. I'm not quite sure if I want to actually... basically, I don't know what what oil I want to put in it. Well, I know, I know what oil I want to put in. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know if I want to. Right now, what I've got running through the truck. Yes, I know I have the key in it. I'm going inside to get the key to the Ram. Like I said, to start it, because I know some people want to still hear the Ram run and hear it do its glorious V6. I guess a perk. It's not really a roar now, is it? Well, famous key. The thing I love the most. Yeah. I love doing that. Let's see here. Maybe you want to see. Key in. If I find it. There we go. Again, the check engine light. This truck doesn't have a check engine light, and I will actually show you. It doesn't have a check engine light. I gotta go get the Alltel. I know a lot of people are gonna like this because I haven't actually showed the Alltel, Alltel BT. I haven't actually showed it, so. It's going to be a little treat for some people that wanted to see me use it. So, I think I have it charged, so. All right, yeah, all time. So, I only got this little bitty dongle. So, we're going to go ahead and plug this in. And you guys can, I think there's someone that wanted to see what I actually had. But again, the only actual check engine lights I have on the truck are the tire pressure, airbag, and the traction, which I have to figure out what that is, because I think that might be the ABS needing the occupant restraint module's dynamic controller. I'm hoping that's what it is. But let's do this, shall we? So let's go over. Now, I don't usually go into service. Like, I can go back and go into service and do whatever I need to do in there, but I don't really like doing that. I could even go to shop manager and go back into vehicle history, and obviously this is the only vehicle I got in it, and go into diagnosis, and it'll take me straight into the vehicle. I don't like really doing that because, as you saw, the number of steps you got to go just to get to that point. It doesn't have to auto ID again, fortunately, but as you can see, the truck's running at 14.3, alternator's working good. I don't trust it, but right now, oh well. Go to download. Let's do an auto scan, which is going to have a lot of codes in it because it's pretty much going through everything. Again, every time you do a battery pull on this, it's got to go through its entirety of running cycles to clear its own DTCs. Like, I've got faults in the instrument cluster, the body control module, the RFH receiver. The RFH receiver, we already know that's the airbag. I'm not airbag, but that's the tire pressure monitor. It's since it's part of that. Like, steering control module has 8, HVAC controller has 6. The doors, I already know what those are. The doors are the calibration, so if I click those, I already know. We're going to do a quick erase and do a quick erase on all of them. And the reason we're doing that is primarily, ordinarily you would not do, you would not do a quick erase on it without, going through all of the codes. But since I already know that I pulled the battery on this truck multiple times doing that, it's doing the ABS right now. It only does that when it's doing the ABS. Like, it just finished the ABS, and we already know what that one is. So, like, right now, it's showing 8 in the transmission right now, which I'll have to see exactly what those are because it didn't have that before. So we're going to go through, we're going to see what this has and run it through. I may have it even unplugged. I may even have it unplugged. Maybe. Not really sure. But the radio's got faults in it because it doesn't have microphones hooked to it. The HVAC controller has 1 because that's the mode door that's broken. The steering wheel control module now says it has nothing in it. But as you can see, I still can't. I have no EVIC controls. But if I went to the live data, I can actually control the cruise control functions though. Let's see, that's everything. We're going to go to report. And we're going to see occupant restraint module, that's with the PCM. The transmission says it has no communication with the cluster, the computer, and the steering wheel control module, and a lot of other things. Run start correlation, implausible data from the upshifter. I'll have to see what that is about because it didn't have that before, and I'm thinking it's from me unplugging it, so we will see what that is. And I have a really good idea of what that might be. But again, occupant restraint module missing, tire pressure, radio, microphones, USB overcurrent because it's not plugged in, HVAC controller, left main temperature door, controller performance incorrect operation, it's not working obviously, like I said. Driver and passenger door is missing calibration, and that's literally all I have. Once I get the transmission figured out, that's the only thing that's gonna come up, because that's the only fault code that's actually making the check engine light actually come on. But that's where we're at right now. The truck, like I said, runs fine, doesn't miss, doesn't overheat, shows good oil pressure, which I think that's just a switch, if I'm not mistaken. Good voltage. I mean, I'm having no issues at all. I mean, I can rev it for you. And she's running pretty smooth. So that's where we're at now. I run it every day to let it get up to temperature, and that's pretty much it. So that's the update for those that wanted it. That's what I'm waiting on. That's what I'm doing, and I have driven it. That was another thing I was asked, if I had driven it. I have driven it. I've got to reprime the brakes again, because after I moved it, I put that brake controller back on, and now I have to reprime the brakes. So, which is a hellifying thing to do by yourself, even with the proper tools. So that's where we're at now. I'm going to figure out this transmission thing, and then I'm going to basically call it a day. Peace, guys.